feeling like a tattoo. The way you wear that dress, they gonna attack you. Way you look at me, baby, I got you.
What's good, beautiful people, and welcome to the channel. I'm your boy Trini Hulk, and welcome to my community. Welcome to this your first time. Welcome. All new people, all new viewers, new potential followers are definitely welcome to join the channel. So today, decided to do something a little different. I've been thinking about this for a while, and I finally grew the cojones in a Hispanic terms. Grew the cojones to actually come to you guys and tell you where I came from, tell you about my journey, my struggles, and hopefully you could take any information that I share with you about my own personal life and reflect it on your own life and see if we can connect spiritually through this video. So if that catches your attention, just keep watching, because it's gonna get a little personal. It's gonna get a little emotional. Hopefully I don't cry, no tear jerkers for y'all. Hopefully you don't guys cry as well. But hopefully if it is tears, it's tears of being able to relate to someone else's struggle compared to your own, and your own personal journey in life. But with that being said, so those of you who know, the word Trini in my name comes from a shorter version of my country, Trinidad and Tobago. So I came to this country at a very, very young age. My parents were both born in Trinidad as well as I, and they wanted to find a way to make a better life for their son, as well as my cousin. So when my parents decided to come to America, they decided to bring one of my cousins along. His name is Michael. So he can be able to come to the United States to get a better education, because, you know, times is hard in the Caribbean. It's a third world country. There's a lot of struggling. There's a lot of violence. A lot of stuff going on. So my parents looked at this as, let's bring him along so he can be able to do what he has to do to give back to his parents, or potentially bring his parents to America as well. So when we first came to America, it was a long time ago, so probably not too long to some of my viewers who may be older than me, not to knock you guys for your age and whatever, but so we came here in the early 90s, but we didn't come here together. My father ended up going to Massachusetts to live with one of his siblings, one of his older brothers in Boston. So while he did that, me and my cousin and my mother made our way to Bronx, New York. I believe I was about 4 years old, 4.5 years old. We lived with my mother's sister, Carolyn. So the time we were out there, my father was actually in Boston working a part-time job. He ended up getting a job at KFC. You know what I'm saying? So he ended up stacking his money, trying to get his money right to get connections to a place to live, for us to live. So the time when my father actually got to his goal, which was to bring his family together in a home in Massachusetts, we came to Massachusetts to meet with my father, and the first place that we moved to, that we got an apartment with, in which my father was able to get a place to live through one of my aunt's uncles who owned properties. But let me tell you something. Coming to America in the early 90s, especially for people from other third world countries especially, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. And growing up watching my parents made me more and more admire and love the ambition and determination and the motivation that my parents had together to make sure that they had a roof over me and my cousin Said, who I consider my brother now. That's my brother, that's not my cousin. Even though his father is my uncle, his mom is my aunt, we were raised together under the same roof when we first came to the States. And so we ended up getting an apartment, and I believe it was a 2-bedroom apartment in Brockton, Massachusetts. So I'm not gonna lie to you. So when we first came to Brockton, it wasn't no plug and play. We didn't have much. We were kind of poor. When we first got the apartment, we didn't really have furniture. You know what I'm saying? We didn't probably have some hand-me-downs from relatives that came. They gave us a couch. That's probably a table, a dining room table. It's probably like the most furniture we actually had in the apartment that we first were living in. So times was tough, man, when we tried to get settled and for our family to start our journey to building this new country, this new world that we didn't even know anything about. See, my father, he didn't have a car when he first came here, so that was one of the first goals before the actual apartment, for him to get to have reliable transportation, for him to get to work and go back home. In the time he was trying to build the foundation, the money for us to come to Massachusetts. But I remember that car too. He loved that car. He really did love that car. He was a car guy back in Trinidad. I'm not sure too much of the year of the car, but I remember it was blue. It was a Chevy Cavalier, I believe. So if you take it back to the early 90s, look up those Chevy Cavaliers, and he had his little music system in there, you know what I'm saying? And I thought he was the man, because it was the first ever car that I'd been in that my father actually owned in a new country, and I thought he was the man growing up. But you know what I'm saying? So growing up in a Caribbean household back in the early 90s, you know, everything was strict to the T. It didn't even matter if you were a boy child or a girl child, how this so say back in Trinidad and thing, boy. It didn't matter if you was a boy or a girl. The Caribbean discipline is different when it comes to parents trying to mold their young children to be prepared for the world, especially a world in a new country that they barely knew about. So technically, in a way of thinking, even as a young child and my parents being adults in the early 90s, we were all learning this new country, how to live here, how to survive, how to hustle, how to get money. And when I look back and I'm like, geez, like, it's a blessing in disguise, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of people, they go through a lot of like problems and struggle and midlife crisis, whatever, but they don't really see in the moment the blessing that's gonna come after you go through the mud. After you go through the mud and you're able to build back strong, clean that mud off and clean yourself up, you finally realize that God didn't put you through that to make you suffer. He didn't put you through that to struggle, to look at it that life's over. No, that's not what he does. See, God is a mysterious God, and he's an on-time God, and he loves us, each and every one of us, however many there is, specific number out there in this world. And he puts us through things to mold you, to see how far can he put you so you can succeed in this world, so you can excel in this world and be comfortable and live comfortable before you go to the kingdom of God. It's just crazy, man. You just go through a lot of things in life, and I used to personally ask, like, why? Why? It took some years, it took some trial and error, a lot of things that happened in my past life that I'm gonna get to in this video that changed me to who I am right now, the person that's in front of this camera talking to you. But it's crazy, man. So back to what I was saying, man. Growing up in the early 90s in a Caribbean household was a very strict household. I'm telling you, we had chores at a very young age. I'm talking like as soon as you hit like 7, 8 years old, you gotta learn how to put away dishes in the kitchen, clean the counters, sweep the floor, you know, the little stuff, man. And then your parents put more and more tasks on you once they see how comfortable you are doing the ones they assigned you first. Then you go from there to cleaning the bathroom, from there to cleaning the living room, wiping down sofas, TVs, sweeping the walls. Yep, sweeping the walls. I don't even know. I only seen this in mostly like foreign households, that the women will sweep the ceilings and sweep the corners of the walls. I never see this in any other households but foreign households. Besides cleaning, my mother used to have me in the kitchen all the time. And I used to always wonder that she only wanted me there to clean up after her, just to, you know what I mean? That's all she wanted me there. Wash dishes, put away dishes. You know what I mean? Whatever needs to be thrown away needs to be thrown away. But coming to realization when you get older, you realize that's not why. Yes, it is to train you to know how to clean up after yourself. But there's another reason why she wants you in there, so you can observe and learn the home cuisine, the Caribbean cuisine, to learn how to cook. And it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. In my country, it doesn't even matter if you're a man or a woman. If you're from the Caribbean and you don't know how to cook, man or woman, I don't know what to tell you, my boy. But that's crazy. So I ended up started like cooking from like since I was like 10 years old. Don't get me wrong, bro. Like, my food was salty. You would get high blood pressure, bro. It'd rush your behind to the hospital. You know what I mean? I used to put a lot of salt in my food, but you know, you're learning at a young age. You know what I'm saying? It's that's how you learn. You know what I mean? So, yeah, this food was salty. Sometimes no salt, and sometimes it didn't taste all too great. But it is what it is, man. Trial and error. So as I grew up, I became a better cook. You know what I mean? Became a better cook. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. So yeah, growing up when I was in school, man, when I first started school, when I first came to America, and we finally, let's back it up. We finally got to Brockton, and my parents put me in kindergarten. I ended up having to stay back in kindergarten. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Don't ask me how. You only take naps, ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, right? But for their reason, the reason why they kept me back is because of the way I talk. You know, you come from the Caribbean, you had that little Caribbean accent they're not used to and whatever. So they think that you need a whatever, stay back to learn proper English or whatever the terms they used back in the day. So I ended up staying back in kindergarten. And I used to somewhat get picked on. I'm not gonna lie to you. And I know some of y'all saying, yeah, all y'all big, swole looking dudes used to get picked on in school, you know what I mean? But yeah, not too much, not too crazy, man. I used to get picked on a little bit in high school, man. And that actually put me in a little insecurity, little depression mode when I was a kid growing up. And I never really spoke upon this to nobody. You know what I mean? I finally opened up about this when I became in my teenage years. I finally opened up to this to certain people, and then eventually I gave a little piece to my parents of what was going on up here. So now, here comes the most excellent part. So growing up in Brockton, so when I was a kid, man, I used to always sneak out the house. You know what I'm saying? I used to always sneak out the house, try to go outside and play with my friends. And my parents didn't like that at all, especially my mother. My mother was real strict on homework and chores. Homework and your chores is not done, you are not going outside. You know what I'm saying? And if the chores is not done to her liking, because you know your cleaning is not the same as your mother's, your aunties, your wife, whoever you are watching. It's not the same as those ladies, fellas. You could clean and think that you clean that joint spick and spank, that you could see yourself on the floor. Let a woman come in that kitchen or come in that bathroom, and she gonna be like, nah, I'm telling you, promise you. But speaking of sneaking outside to go play with my friends, so I had a best friend growing up. His name was David Amabile. David, if you watching here, salute to you, King, man. And we did everything together. It was kind of like a trio, and then we added on a fourth horseman, so the trio was me, David, my cousin / brother Michael, and Brian Aria. But most of the time, it was me, David, and Brian. So growing up, this was like my bestest friend ever. Like, this kid had everything you can think of, because both his parents were lawyers at the time. And eventually his mom became a principal of a high school, and so forth. But yeah, so both his parents had great careers, and this kid was the only child. Yes, people, he was the only child. This boy he had his own playroom, bro. All the toys around that time you can think of, Power Rangers, freaking, what's those gangster sharks? I forgot the name of those sharks. They used to have the toys with their mouth, whatever you could move. But he had everything in the book, all the game systems, anything you could think of, bro. And I'm like, bro, he is living the life. Because around the time like I said, we didn't really have much, you know what I mean? We had to like thank God that we had something decent for Christmas. And if we got something decent for Christmas around that time, it was for me and my cousin. There wasn't no individual presents for the big presents. We had to share. But life's crazy, bro. When you think about it, going back, man, life's crazy where you came from. You know what I'm saying? Like, we came from nothing. Like, in the first apartment that I told you, we didn't have no bed. We just had one mattress. And who was sleeping on that one mattress in that one room? Me and my brother. And where my parents were sleeping on the floor next to us. You know what I'm saying? So we came from nothing. We had no kitchen table. We were eating on the kitchen floor with paper plates and plastic cups. You know what I'm saying? Couldn't afford to wash clothes sometimes. I remember one time my mother had washed clothes, and I can remember it like it was yesterday. So she hung some of the clothes in the bathroom, and the bathroom window was open, and it was around winter time. And it was a cold winter, so you know what happened? When they went to go get the clothes, the clothes were frozen solid, bro. Like, you could literally probably break a piece off the clothes. Yo, that joy, I was like, jeez, bro. It was crazy, man. A lot of stories, man. I hope y'all sitting tight. We just gonna keep going. So the elementary school that I went to in Brockton was called the Hancock School. Hancock Elementary School. Bro, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was a real problem child. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I used to go in the kids' backpacks. I used to sneak back from lunchtime to go in the teacher's desk to steal candy. I was a problem child, bro. I was real bad, yo. And back in the early 90s, was big on Pokemon cards. Oh my god. It was so big on Pokemon cards. I'm telling you, I was a problem child. I was a thief. I'm not gonna lie to you. When I was a kid, I was a thief, bro. I look back at it and I'm like, damn, bro, you was a badass little kid, bro. Bro, I thought I was like the master thief, man. Like, I thought I was like Sticky Fingers or something, man. Like, when you think about it in the past, it's like, sheesh, bro. I don't even know, bro. It was so bad. Like, around the time it was like Pokemon cards. Like, bro, we were kids. We used to go to the CVS down the street because there was really no corner stores around the area around that time. There's probably like one, but they didn't have much, whatever. So we used to go to the the CVS. Me and like two other kids. I probably was about like 11 or 12, 10 or 11 years old. They used to have the Pokemon cards right there at the register, right there where you put your money down, whatever. And we used to try to distract the cashier while we making transactions, like buying candy or something, you know what I'm saying? And once they turned around, we used to slide Pokemon cards off that counter into our pockets. It was bad, bro. It was bad. I stole mad Pokemon cards. Bro. I remember these kids used to come to school with like their best Pokemon cards. And around lunchtime, it was like lunchtime, and then it was recess. So I used to play it off like I was going to recess, but I was really going down to the classroom. You know what I'm saying? and going to people's desks and take their Pokemon cards. I was bad, bro. It was bad. I used to go in the teacher's desk, bro. They used to do like bingo. He used to do like some bingo or whatever. He used to keep the candy in the desk. The novelators, the airheads, all them Johns, B. I used to go there. I used to snag mad candy out his desk, bro. That's Mr. Shan. If you here listening to this, Mr. Shan, I'm sorry. I was young and I was retarded. I mean, don't let me pause. Let me not use that word retarded because you know what I'm saying. I was misguided by my peers. Yeah. It was bad, bro. It was real bad. So I made it out of elementary school and I ended up going to the West Junior High School. It's a middle school in Brockton around that time. But they switched it up now. So I'm hearing like 6, 7, and 8 is middle school now. So back when I was in middle school, elementary was 1st through 6th, and then middle school was 7 and 8, and high school was 9 through 12. So I went to West Middle School, and I did okay. You know what I mean? I ain't get into too much trouble. You know what I mean? I used to follow like the crowd, like the popular crowd, and the popular crowd around that time was the fighters. You know what I'm saying? People who got it in. You know what I mean? There wasn't really too much like guns and all that stuff back around that time. People mostly had like knives, and some had guns. So I used to get into a lot of altercations, and I had like a temper problem that I grew from elementary school from being partially picked on. So yeah, I made it through middle school, not too crazy, man. And then I decided like when I went to going to high school, I gotta do something to like distract me to like from the streets, to distract me from following the wrong people, because around that time at a young age I've been to like, let's just say, too many funerals of my peers. I'm talking about like 15, 16-year-olds, 14-year-olds getting shot, killed off of street violence. Yeah, around that time in my neighborhood, around the middle school years, we used to play a lot of street football, a lot of backyard football. And then I used to see my friends who I grew up with on the street that I still currently do live on. See my friends going to football practice during the summertime, during around the middle school era. And I was like, dude, I want to join a football team too. So after middle school, that's when I decided, like, you know what? I was one of the best street football, tackle football players on the street and in the backyard. Let me go try out for the freshman football teams. So I go and I try out. I'm thinking I'm about to be a running back or a linebacker or something. But I was a little pudgy, little chubby kid. But you know, you can work that off and stuff. So I'm thinking like, yeah, I'm about to be this. Nope. Lineman. They put me as a right guard on the offensive line on my freshman year of football, and the first 2-3 games we were trash. I wasn't the starter the first 2-3 games. We were getting our asses beat. I remember, we used to have to run suicides, full pads on a muddy, grassy field until our coaches are like, you know what? Our offensive and our defensive line ain't doing jack doodoo. So they ended up making us doing one-on-ones. So basically we were fighting for a starting first string position. And your boy came out on one of the 5 on top, you heard? I was a right guard. And it was one of the best positions ever that I ever played, because I get to body people, like put them on their back. You know what I mean? Especially on the trap blocks. They used to love using me on trap blocks to trap the linebacker or the defensive end. You know what I mean? And I loved it. I loved the field. I loved it. Like all my little mental problem that I had of being picked on, whatever, like depression and all that stuff, it all went out the window because I finally found something that I could put all that energy towards and just be okay. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I won the position of the right guard on the offensive line freshman year of high school football, 2003. After I won my position, we started winning games. Like, yep, we started winning games. We started busting people's cheeks. No homo. Pause. Pause. And I got into a little trouble here and there. You know what I mean? I got into a couple fights as a freshman. But you're a freshman. You just enter in a bigger doghouse. You know what I'm saying? Like, our high school's probably like the biggest high school in Massachusetts. Holds about 5,000 students between the 4 years, different levels of high school students, not including the teachers. So it probably fit a good 6,000 people in that building. For the faculty and students. I got suspended, in-house, out-house. You know what I mean? I still wasn't taking school too serious, and it was the same year after year after year. I didn't really take my school, my academics seriously to realize now, as an adult, 35-year-old man, that I should have or should have not. Because, like I said, I go by the higher power. Things happen for a reason, and he knew that story before you even knew it. He knows what's going to happen tomorrow before you even know what's going to happen tomorrow. So I go by what God now. You know what I'm saying? I don't ask questions no more. I just, you know what? This right here was supposed to happen. I don't ask questions no more. Just keep it pushing. But yeah, I got into minor trouble freshman year, but I had to clean up my act because I love the game of football. So I love the game of football, and that's where I fell in love with a hobby, which is now a lifestyle to me. The reason why my name now, my nickname, but it's not my real name, Trini Hulk. That's where the name Hulk comes in. We started weightlifting, and I fell in love with weightlifting, especially amongst my peers, my teammates, my brothers. You know what I'm saying? And we competed against each other to see who's the strongest, who's the fastest, who's more athletic with agility, all that, endurance, stamina, whatever. And we pushed ourselves. And I was a little strong, little one, man. I was strong, bro. It's mostly on the lower body, bro. Like, I was like 15, 16, squatting 600 pounds, bro. Like, over 600 pounds. Because I mainly did that because I was an offensive lineman. And I needed my legs strong to plant my feet, to plow through the defense, you feel me? Protect the quarterback and make that pathway for the running back, man. You heard? But yeah. So yeah, high school was amazing. Like I wish I can go back in the hands of time and go back to high school, especially through my sophomore to my senior year. Those were some great experiences. The city of Brockton, or should I say the City of Champions, which is our name for our city, is very big on football, especially around that time in the early 2000s. So 2004 to 2005, I was a sophomore in high school, and we had like the biggest seniors on our team, bro. I'm telling you, these dudes were huge, tall, 6'5", over 200-300 pounds seniors, and like these are young teenagers, bro, built like men. And we had a quarterback. We call him. Oh, his name was Jesse, and this dude, I don't know where this dude came from, bro. I grew up with him too, man. I used to always think he was a great basketball player, but I didn't know he was a great football player until I went to Brockton High and became a sophomore. This dude was like Michael Vick and Tom Brady in one, with Tom Brady's arm with the dots in one. Like this boy, like when he got the running, bro. I'm telling you, the cutback. He was like the cutback king in high school. But we ended up going 11-2 that year, and we went against one of the powerhouses in Massachusetts around the time, Everett. They were like undefeated for like 3-4 years straight, and we played against them, man. I was a sophomore, sitting on the sideline with my brothers, my coaches. It was a humbling experience, man. And then we ended up winning. My sophomore year of high school. We ended up winning the Division I championship. And we surprised the whole state of Massachusetts that the number one high school team in Massachusetts got beat by the Brockton Boxers. Yes, sir. I was there for that. Then my junior year, I almost won that starting position, bro, for the varsity. But the only reason why I didn't really get it is because they went off of seniority. It's politics in football, people. It's very political in football. It doesn't matter high school, middle school, college, junior college, AFL, CFL, European football, whatever. It doesn't matter, bro. When it comes to sports and coaches, it's all politics on who they choose to represent their team in the front line. So I almost won that junior year, but that junior year was also a humbling experience. I was playing junior varsity, but I was pretty much smoking all my competition that they put up in front of me when that quarterback said hut or red 90, sit. The snap count could be anything, but the defense doesn't know, but we do. Just a little knowledge for who doesn't know football, what goes on in the huddle. But yeah, almost won it, but we ended up going undefeated that year. We went 13-0. That was crazy. We went undefeated the whole preseason, the whole regular season, playoffs, and we made it to Division I title again, 2 years in a row, back to back. You know, this is her right here, man. I had another one for the first year that we won against Everett. I don't know where that ring went, but we lost it. But this ring right here represents both of them. As you can see, right here it says my name. This side it says back to back. Then it says the record 13-0. This ring been back a lot of great memories, man. I'm telling you, man. Growing up and being in high school, especially amongst your brothers around the football season, traveling to different cities to play different kids, meeting new people. It was just a humbling experience as a kid, bro. I'm telling you, man. It really teaches you like good self-discipline, respect for others, like respect. You know what I'm saying? That's the key word, respect. And self-discipline is the second in line. You know what I mean? So yeah, we ended up winning another championship that year, man. 13-0. In my senior year, I ended up getting injured. I cracked my radius, this bone right here. So basically, I overpowered somebody, and they fell back so quick. I actually went over them while they went down on the ground. I try to stop myself, and the way I try to stop myself, my radius, this is what they call the radius, it snapped, and you could see like my skin like poking up, and I was like, oh my god. So I ended up missing like half the season for that. But knowing me, I never really babied my injuries, so it wasn't really time for me to get back on the field. So the doctor said I can return with the cast. And it said a date, but I was like, nah, I'm not missing another game. I'm not doing that. I'm not missing another game. So I forged the doctor's note. Jerry, my athletic trainer back then, I'm sorry, I forged the doctor's note. We all did. Shit. Like, damn. When you love a game, you love a sport, man, you do anything to get back on that court. You go do anything to get back on that field. You do anything to get back on that track, get back in that water for you swimmers. You know what I'm saying? You do anything that you could do to get back to your love, your passion. You know what I'm saying? So I ended up coming back with a cast on, and they had to put like a cushion over because they thought I was going to use it to whack people. I was like, I ain't going to do that, bro. My arm still hurt. Even though it's protected. So yeah, we ended up magically making it a third time to the state championship, the Division I title. But we had a trash record, bro. I'm telling you, we had no leadership. We only had probably like 6 or 7 seniors, and the rest were juniors and sophomores. So they didn't really listen to us. They didn't care. They thought they were better than us because there was more of them and less of us. But so we had a young team, and we ended up losing that year. But you know what I'm saying? But I tell you something, man. High school was probably the best time of my life. The best 3-4 years of my life was high school. You know what I mean? I graduated high school at 2007, class of 2007, amongst probably like 900 and some change students. After high school, I thought, I was like, you know what? I want to go to the NFL. You know, man, you know how it is, man. When you're playing a sport as a teenager, you're not really thinking of like, what if I don't get to the professional sport, whatever? What's the backup plan? So you know what I'm saying? I didn't have a backup plan. So my thought was like, you know what? I'm going to become a professional NFL player. So remember how I said I didn't take my academics seriously? So I didn't take my academics seriously in high school. I didn't really think that around that time that colleges didn't care about your grades until I became a junior and a senior in high school. To really realize that you really have to have some great grades, some decent great grades to get into good colleges, for colleges to be able to fund your your tuition. You know what I'm saying? So I barely passed. I barely passed all my classes. I'm telling you, it was all C's and D's and B's. Barely got A's. Probably got an A in physical education. That's about it. So after high school, I ended up going to a community college to see if I can go and try to raise my GPA to an acceptable GPA for these colleges that I was targeting to play football for. So I ended up slacking in community college too. Like, I wasn't showing up to class. I don't know what was wrong with me as a kid, man. If I can go back and just smack myself a few times, I would. Promise me, I would. But so I ended up not doing too crazy in community college, man. So after probably a couple semesters, I ended up trying to transfer out to a junior college in Minnesota to play junior college football, just try to get back in the grind of balling, playing football, get on the field, and make my way to a 4-year to try to make my way the journey to the NFL. I still had that dream. So I ended up going to Minnesota, Rochester, Minnesota, and I was surprised when I got there. There was a lot of cornfields, a lot of fields and grass, and a lot of Ethiopians. A lot of people from Africa live in Rochester, Minnesota. And I realized that when I got there. And I ended up living in a dorm, not a dorm, it's like more so apartment that was down the street from the college. And these were like kind of dorm kind of apartments, whatever. There were like 3 or 4 bedrooms. So when I was out there in Minnesota, man, I didn't really stay out there too long, man, because eventually the tuition office in Minnesota was saying that my parents made too much money, that they can be able to fund my school. But they didn't understand what was going on behind the scenes of my parents' funds. That they had bills, loans, credit cards, car loans, a whole bunch of stuff that being able to pay for tuition around that time for the money that they were making was not going to be able to pay for my school and pay for rent, because we had to pay for rent individually, split up between 4 of us. It's probably about like $400 or $500 a piece a month. And being around that time as a 19-year-old, probably 18 turning 19, I didn't have a job. I came to a new state from another state, from the East Coast to the Midwest, well, to the north, middle of freaking nowhere, with all these cornfields and shit. So after probably about a semester, I had to come back to Massachusetts, man. And then from there, I went into a little depression, and this is where that poison was introduced into my life. So yeah, that poison was introduced in my life, and the poison that I'm talking about was alcohol. I ended up coming back from Minnesota, and I ended up hanging around my cousin and his new friends, who are now my friends till this day. And they were older than me. I was always the younger person in the group. I always been around the older crowd. Growing up in a Caribbean household where we used to have little family get-togethers, so we used to go to family get-togethers, and after towards the late evening, towards the end of the party, my father and his brothers would play cards, and they would play for money. So I used to always sit around and watch them play cards, listen to the conversations, because I used to always wanted to be around older people of my gender to learn, to basically use this spongy brain of mine and suck in all the information as I can and utilize it in my life growing up as a young child. But yeah, I ended up started hanging around them. They were always like going out to parties and clubs, and I wasn't at age. I was 19. Came back from trying to become an NFL star, and I was depressed. Ended up started drinking alcohol with them, and the feeling that I got from drinking that alcohol, it felt good. Well, to me, it felt good, but you know what I'm saying? So I ended up getting addicted to alcohol. Like it was really bad. It was to the point that I was dependent on the alcohol, dependent on everything, for everything. You know what I'm saying? And for years, from the time probably I was about 19 going on 20 till September of 2022, I was addicted to alcohol. I used alcohol for everything, depression, for everything. And I ended up being in and out of the hospital on multiple occasions, not only for being depressed under alcohol, but also for having very, very high blood pressure, hypertension, to the point close to a heart attack and stroke. And around those times of the years, I was very disappointed in myself. And because of me being very disappointed in myself, that I didn't achieve my goals, and then my past insecurities made me depressed. And I put myself in a hole away from everybody, and I ended up breaking bonds, like weakening bonds with a lot of people, especially my loved ones, my family, to the point that they just got tired of it. They got tired of seeing me being drunk. They got tired of seeing me slowly killing myself. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things that led up to me to being like addicted to the alcohol around that time that I'm not gonna get into too much detail of it, because if I do, your boy probably gonna start tearing up right now. But when I think about it, I look at it all as a blessing in disguise. Like God's gonna break you down. God's gonna break you down to the very nitty gritty and throw you in the mud. It's up to you to get up from that mud, wipe off yourself, wash off yourself, and become a fresh, new, stronger you, who learned from all your mistakes, who learned from all your decisions. You know what I'm saying? All those decisions that you ever made in your life, that was not meant to break you. Yes, it may be technically yet to break you, but it's up to you to figure out who you are, how strong you are, to overcome all of those obstacles in your past. Like I said, I got a quote well, it's not really much of a quote, but I was scrolling through Instagram and I ended up coming across a video from that was clipped off and chopped off from Steve Harvey. So basically he was saying is there's a reason why that your car has a rear view mirror and it's just this small, but your front windshield is this big. The message that I got from that is basically telling you all the little things, all those things that broke you down, they all in the past now, man. Right in that rear view mirror, they all in the past. They back there. The bigger picture is in front of you. The bigger picture is that windshield in front of you. So what that's telling you, it's time to move on to the bigger things, the bigger piece of the pie, the bigger door. All those doors that close, those are little tiny doors. The bigger doors right in front of that windshield, that wide windshield. You know what I'm saying? So alcohol really broke me down, bro. I'm telling you, like, that's why I call it poison. Like, I was in and out of hospital to the point that I finally did. I had a TIA, which was 4 years ago, and a TIA is a form of a stroke. It's not an actual big whammy stroke, but it's basically a warning to you that you need to get it together before the big whammy comes and take you out. So I ended up having a stroke, and that was all included with the depression, my little anxiety problems I used to have. You know what I'm saying? The stress, the alcohol. And on top of that, all of that going on in here, going on inside here, in my stomach, in my kidneys, all of that on top of a bad diet. Like, I was very overweight. I still am overweight now, but I was very overweight. I was out of shape. My face was very swollen looking. Eyes was very puffy. Circles around my eyes was very dark. Blemishes on my skin. I was looking crazy, man. You know what I'm saying? And I used to blame myself all the time. Bro. I'm telling you, it used to put me in a very bad place. To the point that I used to, like, basically pay money for attention. Like, when I mean by that, like, I used to have, like, girlfriends. Like, I used to date. I used to have girlfriends, whatever. But those dates made me realize and showed me that there's not a lot of genuine people out there. Just people that will take advantage of you. Because even though my exes, I'm sure they're amazing people. I'm sure they're living an amazing life right now. But they seen the wounds. They seen the signs that there's something wrong with this dude. Like, why is he so insecure, whatever. But they took that sign to try to dig deeper. So instead of love and affection, they mostly wanted money. And it's crazy, man. It's crazy how some people think, bro. When you see a victim, you want to victimize them even more by digging them deeper. But it is what it is. Blessings to them. I hope they're living a very wonderful life. And I just wanted to say thank you, ladies. If you ever caught yourself to come looking at this video, ladies, I thank y'all. Y'all helped me grow. Y'all helped me realize who I am now. Thank you. But yeah, with that being said, man, after the stroke, bro, I still didn't learn my lesson, bro. I still went back and drank that alcohol. You know what I'm saying? And I still, like, you know what? drank until I fell asleep, to the point that I couldn't go to sleep without alcohol. I had like sleep apnea or some crazy stuff like that. You know what I mean? It was nuts. It was nuts. So after many years of being addicted to alcohol, that poison liquid, after probably multiple relationships, I finally met a woman. Well, before I even get to that, I said to myself, yo, the next woman that I'm with, I'm gonna make her my wife. And I finally met a woman. I'm not gonna put her name out there because she's very low key. So I finally met her, and I was still drinking. I'm not gonna lie to you. I talked very terrible to that lady, and I'm sorry that I did. Like, especially when I was like drinking, I would talk very terrible to this lady, and to the point that she was a little bit scared of me, like, and I didn't like that. Didn't like that at all. But she stuck around. She's a soldier. She's a strong one. If you're looking at this video, appreciate you. So we ended up arguing, going back and forth, to the point that we ended up like breaking up. And then I told myself, like, yo, it's your fault. It's all your fault. Like, I was a good woman and you messed it up because of your addiction. You're putting that poison in your body that's changing the way of your way of thinking, the way, you know what I'm saying? And then I told myself, like, yo, we gotta stop this. And what was it that made me stop? Oh my God. So what was it that made me stop? I'm not gonna lie to you, I started smoking weed, man. I started smoking marijuana. And my boy Tyler, he was my co-worker, man. We used to smoke weed together and shit. You know what I mean? And that kind of like slowly, like, I don't know what it was, but it kind of altered my taste for alcohol. And I was like, you know what? This tastes disgusting. So I started smoking more and drinking less. You know what I mean? And I ended up finally quitting the alcohol, and I was able to realize that I'm more focused, I'm more alert, I'm more determined, I have more motivation. You know what I'm saying? And I went back to the gym, and I was going to the gym on and off before that, while I was drinking on the bottle or whatever. But once I stopped and I found something to distract my mind, I went full throttle back in the gym, man. And I seen the changes in my face. Like, basically, I was like aging backwards. You know what I mean? I was aging backwards. Face was clearing up. Eyes were getting lighter. My thoughts were more like this. You know what I mean? My like everything was like better. Because when I was on that bottle, and because I had that TIA, there were moments that I would like pause, or I would stutter, or I won't be able to talk. It's because of my blood pressure. And going back thinking about it, it's crazy, bro. Where I came from, you know what I'm saying? It's just crazy. But with that being said, yo, people, man, yo, I enjoy y'all, whoever stuck to it to the end, man. I enjoy that you guys sat there and just listened to me, blah, blah, blase, blah. But, you know what I mean? My past was tough, man. The process was a struggle. The process had its sacrifices. It had its, like, life and death situations. Like, seriously, man. I didn't even tell you guys everything. I just compressed it down to like the facts. So whoever's watching this video, if you do know me, now you do understand where I'm coming from and how I live, man. Have an idea, you know what I mean? But my beautiful people, man, those of you who join me, man, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button and the notification, because guess what? Your boy is back, and we are gonna come out with a whole bunch of bangers as much as I can, and a whole bunch of content. And that goes from my TikTok, follow that at Trini Hulk. My Instagram, Trini868 Hulk, and then here you are on YouTube. So let's grow this family, let's grow the community, and we just gonna try to hit. My goal right now is to hit 100,000. We just hit 100K. I mean, not 100K, my fault. We just hit 1,000. I'm just talking for the future. We just hit 1,000. So my next goal is 10,000. You know what I'm saying? Let's put another 0 on that. And after that, we hit 10,000. I want to put another 0 on that. Let's hit 100K to then hit to 1 million. You know what I'm saying? I got a story to tell. I got content to make. I got people for you guys to meet. Let's do this all together. Until next time, beautiful people, my brothers and sisters, I love y'all. You know what I'm saying? For real, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all for taking your time to come here and listen to your boy. You know what I'm saying? Now it's your turn. Support me, and let's do this together as a family. You heard? Yes, sir. Trini Hulk out.